Okay, good afternoon, everybody. If you are in the Zoom room and you wish to speak on a specific item, please send a chat to the tile that says send messages here with your name and the item you want to speak on. That's all we need to have you in the queue. So when it's your turn to speak, we will have you ready to go.
Meeting of Preservation Board for Monday, October 27th is now in order. Would you call a roll, please?
Ruth Kenoy,
Here.
Stanley Fowler,
Present.
David Richardson,
Here.
Kevin Hamaker,
Here.
Richard Callow,
Here.
Mike Colleen.
Here.
Think, oh, Mike is in a vehicle. Andrew Robinson. We have a quorum.
You call Alderman Orion's name.
Sorry, Alderman Brett Narayan.
Okay.
Not present.
Four. Commissioners. Has anybody read the minutes for August 25th and September 22nd? If so, do you have motions for one or both of those?
I move to approve minutes for August 25th and September 22nd, 2025.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Call a quick roll, please.
Ruth Kenoy,
Yes.
Stanley Fowler,
Aye.
David Richardson,
Yes.
Kevin Hamaker,
Yes.
Mike Colleen,
Aye.
Richard Callow.
Aye. Commissioners, take a look at the agenda. Is there any item A, B, or C which you need to recuse yourselves? What do you want to do about agenda items D and E?
The applicant is not here yet, so let's wait until he gets here, then we can discuss it maybe when he gets here formally. But,
Okay, this will be our agenda then. We have only appeals today, so I will remind those who testify, appellants and staff, that I'll be asking you to swear or affirm that you're telling the truth. I would ask both staff and appellants to submit for the record formally anything that they want included. Be calling first appeal, which is agenda item A. Note for the record the presence of Commissioner Robinson.
Okay. I'm Jan Cameron with the Cultural Resources Office, and I promise to tell the truth. Would like to submit into the record ordinance 57078, the Soulard Historic District ordinance. My presentation this evening, the PowerPoint, the agenda that you have in front of you, and also a letter from the Soulard Restoration Group, which hopefully you also have in front of you. That we received this morning.
Excellent, proceed.
And you will remember this from last time with Bob. Help me here, Bob. Thank you.
here, we're done.
This is 1041 Shenandoah Avenue, located in the Soulard Historic District. And you remember that the proposal before you is to construct a carport, actually a garage port on the left side of the house, which has no access to an alley, even though it's directly adjacent to an alley. You can see that the little black spot is the proposed garage. And an aerial view of the property. So it is landlocked on all sides. Oh, you go back very quickly. Whoops, bring forward. Okay, you will note that there is an existing curb cut here that was approved a couple of decades ago by the Preservation Board, again, because there was no access to the alley. There is no structure on the site, however. And this is the proposal to construct a carport that'll be parallel with the house and retain the existing apron and curb cut. Now, what you saw in the first proposal last month was the elevation on the right, which will face Shenandoah, on the left, I'm sorry, which will face Shenandoah. The proposal now is to do an augmented cornice that you see on the right that will be similar to that on the main house. Okay, and this is the western elevation, which actually faces the adjacent property. It will be partly visible from the street. Right now, most of it is screened by a privacy fence. So the original proposal is again on the left, and on the right, new proposal, which will be substantially brick with some bifold doors granting access. Oops. And just aside the location of garage looking eastward. This is the opposite street, which you see there already is a front entry garage door over there. Another shot of it. And this is the alley. The house that we're talking about is on the far left of the screen. And again, from the front. Okay. Now, based on the revisions and based upon the letter from the Soulard Group, which is generally in support of the project, with the exception of the two doors and the west elevation, which in fact, they are not commenting on. And with subject to the revised drawings that I've just shown you, the staff is recommending that the Preservation Board overturn the director's denial and grant the permit subject to final approval by drawings by the Cultural Resources Office. Question? I do have a presentation from the applicant who went around and photographed all the existing carports that enter from the front. And we can show you those if you're interested.
What does substantially in compliance mean here?
Well, substantial compliance is because the standards very clearly state that no garages shall be entered from the street. This is impossible because they have no street access. So it is not entirely in compliance with the standards, but otherwise it is.
Well, but they already have big vehicular access, right? Because we need
They
some
do.
other
They do.
access. So
There's-
really, it's just now they're building a garage on that vehicular access.
Correct.
Since they're landlocked, you guys got, it's a variance because it is physically impossible to comply with these.
Exactly.
So it's a variance, not substantial compliance.
That's how I would legally say it, yes.
Any more of this case?
Thank you.
No. You? Anybody? Okay, is there a motion?
I move that the Preservation Board overturn the director's denial and grant a variance based on the revised drawings that are substantially compliant with the Soulard Historic Standards and are in compliance with granting a variance with the condition that the final plans, details, and colors are reviewed and approved by the CR.
Second. During the discussion, commissioners? I'll call the roll, please.
David Richardson,
Yes.
Kevin Hamaker,
Yes.
Anthony Robinson,
Yes.
welcome, sir. Ruth Penoy,
Yes.
Stanley Ballard,
Yes.
Mike Colleen,
yes,
Richard Kelly.
Yes,
Ayes have it.
thank you, commissioners. Let's do agenda item B. I'm not done. Although it's substantially improved for units.
I'm Andrea Gagan, Cultural Resources Office, and I swear to tell the truth. I need this appeal of director's denial to install a vinyl fence. And want to enter into the record, the enabling ordinance 64689 is amended by 64925. Central West End Historic District Ordinance 69423, PowerPoint agenda and presentation. Okay, this is 5122 Waterman Boulevard. This is the location, the block. And this is the proposed fence location. The applicant, would like to install a vinyl fence. Most of the fencing is compliant because it's not visible from the street. However, there is a portion, approximately 15 feet of, the fence that is parallel to the street, so it is visible. This is kind of just a mock-up of where the visible parts of the fence would be. As you can see, it's at the back edge of the house. And these are two options. Where originally they applied for a tan fence, but they've also come up with the option of when it's mobile walnut. And this is just some context. Block. As I said, vinyl is not a permitted material for visible fences in the Central West End Historic District. And that is why it does not comply. The applicant's fence was damaged. His original wood fence was damaged during the tornado, and which is why he's replacing it. And the Central West End Association, we have not heard any comments from them. The owner might be able to tell you more. I believe he's spoken to them, but we didn't receive anything from them. And I know the owner's talked to a couple of the neighbors as well. And the plenary findings, Cultural Resource Office recommends the Preservation Board uphold the director's denial of the application to construct a vinyl fence along the street side, as it does not comply with the Central West End neighborhood certified local historic districts.
Questions, commissioners?
How many back is it from the sidewalk?
Let me see if I can tell that it wasn't. Figure this out, because it's not the end of. The house is 45 feet back, front of the house is 45 feet back, the street, I believe. Then the, rest of it looks about the house about 40 feet. So it's about half of that.
And then if we were to allow that, do you prefer tan or mobile?
I think the mocha would be closer to the wood.
Got it.
So, Andrea, are you taking questions right now?
Yes,
Okay, so just to clarify, Jim Dwyer's group hasn't chimed in on this at all?
no, I believe the owner has spoken to him and maybe he can shed more light on that, but we did not receive a letter from him.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions? Okay. Let's hear from the appellant, please. Let's. Welcome.
Thank you. Let's see, again, my name is Parker Lovelace. I've been a resident at our, there in Waterman, Juanita Square. Okay,
Or promise,
I
or.
promise to tell the truth,
Okay.
whole truth, to the best of my
That's
ability.
good until midnight.
No. See, I've lived in our home for 39 years now, and during that time, we've had the wooden fence, and we had to, maintain it a number of times, not up until including this most recent storm. My objective with my advancing age is to be in a position where we are maintenance free, and be an objective, for the future. See, if the distance that it'll sit from the curb, the composition of the fence will be indistinguishable. It's nearly 100 feet set back from the curb. So unless an individual were just making a concerted effort, they would not know what it was made of that, at that distance. I have a sample here of the color that we hope to install. It's not an intrusive color. Many of the houses in the neighborhood use this color as a trim color. As you can see at the top of the picture that's on the screen now, this is darker than that. So it's not going to be anything that's going to be jarring or intrusive. I've spoken to both my neighbors on either side. They're collaborating with me on this. In fact, I have a signed statement from one of them. Oh,
Yeah. So,
oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, be careful.
I'm sorry.
Get you offline there.
Good. Okay. So actually I have a signed statement from one of the neighbors. The other ones are out of town. With regard to Mr. Dwyer, I did speak to him on a couple of occasions. I spoke with him last week. He said he was going to be out of town, said he was going to contact me when he came back in. I have not heard from him to date. So I just would ask you to help me install a superior, more durable, permanent solution to this. It would be a pity to have 95% of the yard done in one material and this one section in another. It seemed that would be more disturbing to the aesthetics of the neighborhood than having a single presentation. Do you have any questions for me?
Commissioners, questions?
You said the existing fence that you have is fence or wood fence that's been wood, you've had issues with maintaining it? Or-
Yes,
90%.
because particularly on the side where the gate is, because with the apartment building on the 5118 side, it basically is like a venturi. I mean, if you ever walk downtown between two large buildings, the air comes through there with quite a force, and it keeps breaking. And so, this fence was it's not only vinyl, but it's reinforced with aluminum support, down into the ground, and should get us so apart from that. Plus, if we do have a problem, it's guaranteed and they'll fix it and I don't have to pay anymore.
And then this fence will also be at the back of your house, not midway through or at the front? Of
No,
your house?
no, not at any point. The entire, if you, I don't know if we can go back to the prior view. But it's basically, it's the back, it encloses the backyard. And that's all. It doesn't, no part of it comes past the rear of the house.
So really, my question is just that street visible portion.
The street visible
That-
portion.
The rest of it's fine.
Yes.
Slovis, can you think of a reason why this should be a variance from the ordinance and that it should apply only to you and not to anybody else?
Well, I think I probably should apply only to me. I think that the city would do well to consider the modification of the ordinance to allow for an improved materials that have come into existence since the ordinance's creation. That doesn't seem to be the effect here. At one point, vinyl fences were first hit the market, white was all you could get. Now you can get a variety of things. Things that are not as obtrusive. There are a number of locations around the city, even on Washington Terrace, just to the west of us on Union, and you can see the entire side of the yard from Union is white, and it does make something. It is more noticeable than if it were a color that was more natural like this. But that's something that I can't really fight. What I think is just a reasonable in this instance, and if there would be instances similar to this where there is a significant setback from the street, where I could understand it if the fence came up all the way to even with the front of the house, and it might be readily discernible. But at a distance of 100 feet, you're not going to tell if it's wood, steel, vinyl or styrofoam. It seems kind of arbitrary. And not something that, has been completely, thought out in light of, developments in the construction industry.
I would say in support of that argument, that at my age, I can't read your sweatshirt.
It says equality.
I have a motion. You ready? Unless we have other speakers.
We do not.
Okay, great. I move that the preservation board overturn the director's denial as the fence is set back 100+ feet and is therefore not visible from the street and does not negatively impact the historic district on the condition that the final plans, details, and colors are reviewed and approved by the Cultural Resources Office.
I'll second that. Yes, discussion.
Yes, discussion.
All right, two things. One, I know that just maybe 3 months ago, 4 months ago, we had a similar situation, West End by the Chess Club. I think this is a little different, that's between two buildings, it's far back. I don't think that we should say 100 feet in there, that's my thing. But I understand it's not visible. This is a material that might last longer, but I am kind of stuck on saying it's okay to have vinyl here when. Well,
There was a letter from a neighbor.
Yes,
Yeah,
uh-huh,
could we see that?
sure. Guys, basically,
To the record.
I was just gonna
he
add to
just,
that.
just handwritten, wrote it at the bottom there.
I would add to that, as curious as Jim Dwyer is. Jim Dwyer had a problem with this, he would make sure in some form or fashion that he spoke out against it.
yeah,
Any way we could.
Sometimes they just say nothing as a statement.
I don't think so, I
I
know because I live in the area and I've talked to Jim. About how to build. And I set up this board. Never mind. Young Wire. Not send a letter or show up. If he was against this.
So I was just gonna say, if I agree, my colleague here, 100 feet, what I would have said, or add. It's 100 feet, and in this instance, therefore it's not visible. So we're not setting a precedent
Yeah.
that 100 feet gets you a final fence.
And perhaps that it is only this very small section or section. This is different than.
Actually, not.
Or invisible, or depending on your. 20/20 versus 20/50 vision.
I guess I just have a problem. I mean, if you're gonna introduce things like that, then maybe the neighborhood should work on altering their standards
Oh, I
to
accept that.
introduce modern materials.
Sure.
But
Well, I'm with Ruth on this one. I think this is a fine motion. It's not part of this fast, it's not even about, it's a final fast and ordinance is what it was.
Yeah, so
My window case, for example, when I came here, the neighborhood stayed out of it, so there's no letter for or against. But I did come with support of my immediate neighbor, so same situation as this. To install a non-compliant material. And I got permission.
can we flip back, or, Simone, can we flip back to that picture? It's the one slide further. So I think this white, it shows up a lot more than I think a brown fence or that ochre color.
well,
I
It
agree with
is
that.
nice. Fix it up.
brown color.
Yeah, exactly. It shows, it will show up.
Versus-
One more pass.
I'm sorry,
Anyway,
we're at the end here, sorry, it was backwards me.
yeah,
That one,
so it would not be that. Right,
Yeah.
right.
so I think.
Yeah,
it would then.
No,
Yeah.
Tree.
Do you make a good local?
I mean,
Well, I said that the final plans and stuff would be approved by Public Resources, which we just established they wanted focus, so I could explicitly say that.
I want to note really quick. It
Yes.
says there's a $6,000 difference between the dark brown and that color. It's a hardship.
Because special order.
This was tornado damage? Yes. Insurance company paying for it?
A portion of it, they pay for. The insurance company only paid to replace it with a wooden fence. I'm upgrading since I had this opportunity, just taking it, putting in my own money as well to bring it up to a higher standard.
Is mahogany going to upset you?
Yes, considering that we're already just north of 16,000 because of the depth of the lot.
Here's what I would argue. The strength of our motion is that you can't distinguish it at that distance. It seems like the mahogany would be much less distinguishable than the, what was that, beige mocha?
Mhm.
But who's to say that you don't do beige the rest of the way and you do mocha for the street facing part?
Yes, that would be a possibility. I don't know
I don't.
what the cost factor would be. Yeah, I do know that to get the walnut color is a special art, which means my yard is open for probably another 6 months, because that's basically what everything is running behind, because everybody is trying to get the same stuff at the same time with the wide ranging effects of the storm. I'd like to bring closure to this event as well as my yard. And if you could see your way clear, that would certainly be most advantageous.
David. So based upon your reading of the standards and ordinance, is our influence over just the visible section or the fence into it?
I think we're just the visible section.
I thought the thought made a fair point about the visible section just being wood and everything else being vinyl like material. I think that would not make a ton of sense. But Catherine's suggestion that the visible section be as invisible as possible makes some sense, even though I'm still going to vote against it, as it's fine.
Yeah, I would not personally be supportive of the tan color, that color for the visible portion. Staff.
So
Oh, that's not the tan color
Well,
that
what
you
is
see.
that
in
color?
there. That's just a white.
I know, but the thing that you,
Yes,
can I see that?
sure. I mean, that color is representative of the trim color on many of the houses in the neighborhood. And I
Really quick, I have a request, for the board, please speak into the microphones. There's a hard time hearing stuff online. Please do, yeah, if you can do your best, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I hope, I guess to sum this all up, the biggest thing I'm taking away is the feedback you're getting is it needs to be a darker variety of the wood to blend in, and that's the leniency that people that may be voting yes on this is kind of leaning towards. The whiter will show up, it is vinyl, it's already against the ordinances, so it's more in that gray area of saying, you know, not speaking for all, just speaking, that's what I'm understanding to convey to you.
Tony?
yes, Mr. Lovelace, what's most important to you? Putting a wood fence at the front face, or doing it in vinyl, in the darker color?
That's difficult to answer because I don't know exactly what it would cost just for that section of fence. They may have a certain minimum quantity because it's a special order. I don't have that information. So while my preference would be for the beige, you know, if that's all I can get is either if that's all I can get is either the walnut or just have that section of the fence be wood. I guess I have to go with that.
Okay.
I mean,
I have a question.
yes,
Didn't you say your insurance would cover wood replacement? Would they be willing to cover that section of the fence that needs to be wood?
they've already given me that amount. And I'm having to make up the difference.
I see.
So no, that wouldn't help, that doesn't help me there.
Can I try my motion again?
Yes.
Okay. I move that the preservation board overturn the director's denial as the section parallel to the section of the fence parallel to the street is set back 100 feet, and in this instance is not visible from the street and does not negatively impact the historic district, with the condition that final plans, details, and colors are reviewed and approved by the Cultural Resources Office, and the walnut or wood material is used on the street visible sides.
Second.
That's right.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So just to be clear, this is a question for staff. This entire idea is in violation of the neighborhood code, is that correct? The vinyl fence, whether
It's-
visible from the street or not?
No, they allow for variation of materials if it is not street visible. So
Okay.
the parts that are visible to the street have specific material usage. Vinyl is not one of them.
Okay, but if I can't see it from the street, I can use vinyl?
Yes, you can do some different.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you for that clarification. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, further questions? Hearing none. Secretary, would you call roll please?
Wow.
Oops, sorry.
So,
Instead of the secretary, would you please? call roll?
yeah, I'm not above anything, so of course I'm out. Kevin Hamaker,
Yes.
David Richardson,
Yes.
Stanley Fowler,
Yes.
Ruth Kenoy,
No.
Anthony Robinson,
Yes.
Mike Colleen,
Yes.
Richard Callen.
No,
Motion passes.
motion carries. The appeal is.
Thank you all.
Good luck.
I need trying to get a roof on the house, that won't be till January.
We do still have your neighbor's letter, right?
Oh, yeah, you
Yes.
do.
Yes.
Okay, that means.
We just need to put it in the record.
Okay, can you just make a copy of that, please?
I can do it.
That's okay, you can, well, no, it'd be good, if you could make a copy. Okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
Okay, agenda item C.
Bob Bettis with staff, I'll tell the truth. Need to enter in ordinances 64689 is amended by 64925. Lafayette Square Ordinance 70926, my step report, my PowerPoint. And then also we have a copy of the letter from the Lafayette Square Preservation Committee, which is in support of the director's denial. Okay. So this is the property in question. It's just to the north side of the park. The issue in question is the carriage house, which you can see kind of on the back right here, but you can't see it from the street. Sorry. Just so you know, this has been going on since 2022. The homeowner's been rehabbing the house as well as the carriage house. Actually, I reviewed the permits way back when. This is why I'm taking this through for this project. Over the summer, we received a complaint for the installation of vinyl windows on the carriage house. Total of 9 windows total, I'm sorry, 10 total, 9 face the street, 1 faces the alley. Vinyl is not an allowed material for windows, period, in Lafayette Square. And that's kind of why we're here. Talk to the owner about options to replace. He has his case, which you were given copies of His rationale for wanting to retain the vinyl windows, and we are now here. So I'll run through this really quick and give you a sense of visibility and go from there. So again, this is the site. It is pushed back pretty far from the street, but it is street visible. I do want to note that the standards, no visibility, should not be, can't say landscaping is a way of deterring visibility. So if you have landscaping is not considered permanent and is not considered to block visibility to an item. So even though, as you'll go down and see, during the summertime, these things do kind of leaf out. But again, you can see it when it's like this, in wintertime when there's a direct line of sight to the carriage house. You see it down here on the right side. But some context, but to be fair, the building is pushed back off the street, and when driving down the street, you don't necessarily see it, but you do see it standing in front of the carriage house itself. This is a shot from street view. On the left, it's the current condition showing the white vinyl. Again, you can see it pretty easily from the street when facing it. On the right was the original condition before they were replaced. The permits that were approved in 2022 just mentioned repair of those windows. There is an additional window that was replaced on the rear alley side. On the right side was the previous condition. It was just a boarded up opening. They painted that opening. And they have put in a vinyl window on that side as well. But this obviously just, alley visible only. So that being said, the issue at hand is the materials. Materials for windows cannot be vinyl in any way at all, in any elevation on any building in Lafayette Square. It is street visible. The neighborhood is in support of the director's denial. Staff recommends that the board uphold our denial. Any questions for me?
Yeah, when we had the Homaker residents, there was some talk that the standards are in the process or might be revised with respect to allowing vinyl windows on facades that aren't visible on what part?
Private facade, that is correct. So play that hand out. This facade would never be private that faces the street. On carriage houses, if it faces the main house and it has this level of articulation, it is considered public or semi-public. It's not private. So even with the revised change to the standards, this would still be non-compliant.
What about this thing on the alley?
That would be probably then private. I could look at the code again. Offhand. Honestly, I don't know offhand. I want to speak without knowledge.
So the ones down that I can see from the park doesn't that he's. Okay.
Correct, regardless
The
of the
revisions that may be done that have not quite been done, one on the back might be.
potentially, I need to look at the code. I want to speak off the code. Correct.
Public alley though too, because the alley, your house was not a public alley.
But I could see it from the public park that I'm.
Oh, that's right. So then. Nobody's good. Maybe, it's way too early.
Yeah,
They couldn't see yours at all.
That was part of why. It's a private alley.
Okay, Commissioner.
I will note that this is a dead end alley. It's hard to access, I'm sure, but Jim Roche is online. He'll be speaking as the owner. He will note this is a dead end alley as well, so there's not a lot of access back in the alley.
Further questions for Bob? Okay, let's hear from the appellant.
Are you there, Jim?
Yes, hello.
Okay, just so you know, really quick, Jim, I didn't get a hold of you today, but I do have a copy of your presentation, but the board has been given that previously, so they've seen it. So if you need me to reference it, I can go through it if you'd like, but they've seen it before.
Oh, good. All right, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, very good.
So how this came to pass,
Before you begin,
Mr. Roche, wait.
is your testimony going to be the truth, sir?
yes,
Proceed.
how this came to pass, as you heard, we began rehabilitating the main house, which is a beautiful historical property, and then moved on to the carriage house. Because of the rise in construction costs and other factors, we are over $300,000 over budget as it stands today. The windows in the carriage house under the original permit, we thought, as we did with the main house, that they could be salvaged, but they could not due to dry rot and the windows being broken. The picture you saw of the alley facing window, there was no window. It was just a old piece of plywood that someone had placed where the window used to be. The person who was doing the work for me noted that the residential structure immediately behind the carriage house had vinyl windows. So he assumed that that was an okay thing to do. The financial hardship is further aggravated by the fact that not in the tornado, but in the windstorm in mid-March, the wind and hail storm, the slate roof of the main house has been damaged substantially, and I am fighting with the insurance company regarding that. Our best case scenario on the roof repair is that we will be out of pocket $20,000. The worst case scenario for us is that we will be out of pocket another $130,000. Other things that I think are factors, as you heard, the carriage house, while it is, I suppose, street facing, it is 200 feet from the road. We plan on putting in juniper trees of 8 feet, so the carriage house would not be visible from the road at all. Although I know that doesn't meet the definition of visible, practically that will be the case. So we have a financial hardship. We also have the precedent of other vinyl windows currently being in the Lafayette community. If it would be an acceptable thing to do, we'd be happy because the vinyl is indistinguishable even from 20 feet away from wood. We would be happy to paint those the same color as the trim on the other parts of the carriage house, or whatever the committee would suggest. It would be able to resolve this without spending another $16,000 to $20,000 on taking out the windows we have and replacing them. Do you have any questions for me?
Do you have questions for the appellant?
Do you want to clear? Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, once you realize that the windows weren't salvageable, why didn't you pull a permit?
I'm sorry, I heard that the windows aren't salvageable, but I didn't hear the last part.
Once you were aware that the windows were not salvageable, why didn't you pull a permit to put in new windows?
This is my first time ever rehabilitating a house, so we pulled the original permit in 2022. It had been several years, and the contractor who was doing the work just didn't realize that was a thing. And as I mentioned, he saw the windows behind the carriage house that was an existing residential structure. Just an oversight based on the amount of time that had elapsed.
Bob, is this presentation on our record already?
It is. So I want to clarify, I didn't mean to interrupt you, I apologize. To answer the question from Mr. Richardson, the alleys would probably be private most likely. But they modified the opening, so to speak, so that would be in conflict with the code regardless if it's private or not. So I think, I want to clarify, thank you.
I don't, just for the sake of accuracy, the image that you are looking at, where it says piece of plywood, this actually was a real carriage house back in 1895 when the property was constructed. It became, as near as I can tell, a junkyard after that. But that second floor window originally wasn't a window as far as we know. It was an area or a door, and they had a block and tackle, and they would winch the bales of hay up there and store them on the second floor. So we don't know that there ever was a window there, but as you can see, it's When we bought the property, it was a piece of plywood.
Further questions, commissioners? I've got nobody else signed up to speak. Is there anybody in the waiting room?
I don't, nope.
There's someone,
Oh.
but he hasn't responded on words. I am to speak.
What's the name?
James?
No, he's not on there.
Okay, commissioners, this concludes testimony in this appeal. We'll hear a motion.
I make a motion that we uphold the director's denial of the application to install vinyl windows as the work does not comply with the Lafayette Square Local Historic District standards.
I'll second. Discussion.
There's a lot of different things said, and like at some point it was financial hardship, at other points it was not visible from the street. So I'm not actually sure what we're being asked to consider.
Okay, I'll try again.
No,
No, not
Your
your
motion.
motion. I meant your motion. I just meant if he's asking for some sort of variance or exception, I'm not sure what it's on the grounds of.
If I could summarize what I heard, it was, he has spent a lot of money on this so far and does not want to spend more money.
Right, which is not criteria we're allowed to use. Okay,
Any further discussion? Okay, would you call the roll, please?
Ruth Kenoy,
Yes.
Anthony Robinson,
Yes.
Stan Fowler,
Yes.
David Richardson,
Yes.
Kevin Hamaker,
yes,
Mike Colleen,
Yes.
Richard Callen.
Yes.
Jim, I'll call you tomorrow. We'll talk about next steps and process.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Is there a point you want to make about the agenda items?
Well, I do. The applicant is now present. I just want to give you some background really quick. Well, let me start the record officially. Do that first.
Or an agenda item D.
Yes, Bob Bettis with staff. I'll tell the truth. Need to enter in ordinances 59400, which is the Shaw ordinance. Ordinances 64689, as submitted by 64925, which is the enabling ordinance, my PowerPoint and staff report. The reason these are they're two separate items, they're two parcels, but they also have their own issues. That's why I did them separately. My concern is this, I received, well, back. For this item, the item is to replace street visible wood windows with vinyl windows. That was the proposal written by staff report. That's been considered by the neighborhood. Basis for their letter they've given to you. The basis for 3 letters I have from neighborhood residents in favor of staff's recommendation. All that is based on vinyl windows being submitted. And to be heard today. The applicant who is here, Weston Harding, he's working on these buildings. I know he's going through some stuff personally with his pop, and I apologize for that. But we got new information Friday for different kinds of windows. Staff has not had time to consider that in terms of how it meets the standards. Everything before you in terms of SNEA support, letters from the residents based on vinyl. Personally, I prefer the item be deferred. I have asked Mr. Harding to defer. He has chosen, he does not want to defer the item. But I don't believe staff can give an accurate presentation today based on what is a possibility. If he wants to do a different product, that's not what's being heard today. And I don't want that coming over the top today without staff having formal time to review that item.
Commissioner Richardson, have you got a motion?
Can I talk before we agree?
Okay.
Do we have a time issue?
We don't. I mean, we can always move things out. I mean, when it's,
Okay.
yeah.
I move that the preservation board, defer item D and E until
Wait a second.
its next, meeting.
Second,
Can I tell you why this is a problem for deferring?
And also, we have something on here that we need to discuss that shouldn't be deferred, which is the rear alley visible or not visible? That affects my case on what the windows are. So can we discuss what's visible and not visible?
The second item, which we've not opened up yet, has an item that involves a violation. Separate issue, but their rear elevation also would be proposed for vinyl windows, which also now might be a different product. So I look at this as a visibility issue that should be looked at in total.
Was your motion for agenda item D?
I did D and.
Would you like to restate the motion?
Do I get a chance to at least speak my case before we defer? Because every month that I don't get an answer from you guys is $10,000 more that I lose.
I think the problem is that we have to say no to it today because we would have to base it on the previous information.
So I'm really asking for some help from the board here. I'm really just want to speak my case and you can decide what you want to do. If you're gonna say no to me next month, I'd rather save $10,000 and use the horrible windows that we have in there.
Yeah.
But
The information we have today is what's included in the packet from your previous submission.
Sure.
So we can vote on that today. We could vote on the previous vinyl window submission today.
Sure.
But that's not what you wanna do, actually. You wanna do a different thing. So
Well,
you have
that's-
to come back to us with that different thing.
Okay, 1 second.
Hold on, Mr. Swear yourself in the record.
Sure. Hi, how are you? I'm Weston Harding. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth. Sorry if I'm a little shaky. My dad passed away last Friday, so
Sorry for the loss.
I've been kind of a mess. This whole process with this building and the windows has been a lot of stress for me. That added more stress, so I'm a little shaky tonight. The reason why I want to talk to you about this case is that with the vinyl windows, that's originally what I wanted to put in the building. I went to the manufacturer to see if there was something better that wasn't white vinyl, to see if there was a beige, and I went to get a color sample. While I was there, the maker of the window said you can have a similar product for almost the same cost, a little bit more, in aluminum that does meet the standards of the Shaw neighborhood. So the only difference is the cut is the same. The only difference is the color, and it's aluminum. And we don't have the answers from the Shaw district, no. But I have emails from them saying that yes, the aluminum is an agreed upon material. And more importantly, before I started this process of even bringing you guys in to do vinyl windows, I had an issue in the back of the property. This property has been vacant for multiple years. We had a very short time window to look at this property and decide if my wife and I would rehab it. We love old properties. We decided to take a chance on it. And when we got into the property the first time, we had about 30 minutes. We kind of looked at the windows. Didn't think they would be wood, think they'd be okay. That's not the case. They're in horrible disrepair. But while doing this, when we got into the project and actually closed on it and walked it, there was drug use. There's places that people have been living there without, people in the neighborhood knowing. We wound up moving forward with the project and screwing the doors shut. And then we had to redo the doors because people had kicked them in so many times that you couldn't screw them shut anymore. And during this process and talking with the city inspector, and also we needed to get the building secure, we put in doors on the back of the building that are metal exterior doors just to secure our building. And we put up cameras and we haven't had break-ins since.
That's not good news for you, I think.
Okay,
If in fact, what you submit to Bob for him to look at, if it is compliant with the ordinance, you will not have to see us again. He can approve it.
refuse it. Well,
But we don't know whether it is or not because
sure, but the
He is not-
first thing is, when Bob came out, he said that the rear of the building is street facing and visible, which now means my doors are an issue. And that's another issue on here that I need to know, because if the rear of the building means the windows up need to be changed on one of them, that changes all my numbers on everything. So I do need some clarification on if you guys are gonna give me a pass on the back, not being considered street visible, because it's not street facing. It faces an alley. You're on a one-way street. If you drive down the street, you'd have to turn your head like this to see the back of the building. Nope, not a lot of people walk on Clem because Thurman is the major thoroughfare and shop where everything is. So I'm asking for some leniency on the doors and for me to make an opinion on the windows.
Commissioners, we have a motion on the floor.
Well, I did, but can I withdraw my motion?
Yes.
Okay.
As long as the second agrees, that was me. I agree.
Yeah.
I would still like to have the motion on D, which is just windows, that we defer that to our next meeting to allow staff, to our next meeting, if it needs to come back to us. But allow staff to evaluate the aluminum windows.
I'll second that motion. Is there any discussion? I'll call the roll.
Sorry. Dave Richardson,
Yes.
Richard Callow,
Yes.
Kevin Amaker,
Yes.
Stan Fowler.
Yes.
Ruth Kenoy,
Yes.
Anthony Robinson,
Yes.
Mike Colleen.
Yes.
That has deferred.
Calling agenda item E.
Okay, Bob Bettis with staff, to tell the truth, you to enter in ordinance number 59400, which is the Shaw ordinance, 64689, as amended by 64925, which is the enabling ordinance, my PowerPoint and staff report, as well as I want to enter in the record, the letters from, we have 3 residents in support of staff, which you have a copy of. Also the letter from Shaw Neighborhood Improvement Association, which is in support of staff recommendation to install appropriate windows. Does not address the doors, I would note.
Their email address is the doors.
It's. Sorry. Okay, sorry, 4176 Russell. This is in the Shaw District. It's located at the corner of Russell and Clem. As you can see, this aerial is looking to the southeast. It's a very visible property. And I will fully acknowledge, when we first started talking, trying to find ways to explain what needs to be compliant to the applicant. The applicants can be applied for vinyl on the entire building, front, side, and back. I explained that only a portion of these windows on both buildings, but on this one in particular, needs to be what is street facing. I spoke off the cuff early on that the rear might be to be vinyl. But I went out and saw how visible it was, and that's when I saw that there were some non-compliant doors installed. I explained that I believe that it met the criteria for visibility within the ordinance. So full disclosure, first, but again, that the work had been done prior to me saying the rear might be, up for grabs. So this is the site. Mentioned before, this is a very, very visible building. This is on Russell Frost Clem, looking back at the property. You can see all these windows, they're all highly visible, especially when it's fall and winter. This is looking west on Russell. You can see these, the building is at the left here. It's looking down Clem. Again, you can see there's kind of a lack of trees in this area, so you have a lot of line of sight. And this is looking north on Clem. I appreciate that Clem is a one-way street that runs from north to south. However, you can see it. There's something about street, traffic flow in the ordinance, it just says street visible. So I know what he's saying about it looking the other way, but it's not what it says in the ordinance. So as I mentioned before, we feel that it only needs to be certain windows to meet the ordinance. And I'm showing you on these pictures here, those windows. There's an arc glass window in the middle, that's not being replaced. On the side, we also have some leaded glass on this kind of middle bay, they're not being replaced. So these are street facing windows, they should meet the criteria. A question that has not been brought up is the rear elevation. The shot you saw before and this one showing the ones in question, those ones should be replaced with short replacements. They are street visible. I have seen the email that was an informal email from Shaw to the applicants. It does say they would consider just the actual literal street facing windows to be for that criteria, but it is not an official statement from Shaw. Stephanie Herbers is on that committee. And again, she's not speaking for them on a formal basis on that opinion about the rear facade. Next up though are the doors. So when this came up, went out to do the site visit, I saw that these new doors were installed. On the left, the original doors, the original, obviously, quarter light doors with 3 recessed panels below. On the right are now The new installed windows, 6-panel doors, steel doors, no windows. Much different, does not meet the criteria. For doors. And this is a rendering the applicant has submitted. He believes that it represents what he wants the windows to look like that he's proposing. I don't believe that is the case. Unfortunately, he's doing insert windows. And these are very clean looking windows for insert windows. So it gets back to my point that we have not seen the item enough to fully review it to see if it's compliant with the standards. First blush, it is not compliant. They actually have pretty much the same dimensions as the vinyl window. It's the same company. It has a really narrow lift rail. There's some stuff going on with the meeting rails line up that look a little screwy, and they're insert windows. So the odds of them being compliant are pretty small, but we don't know that until we get more information from the applicant, and then also feedback from Shaw. So I want to go back into a few pictures here, kind of move through quickly. This is what was proposed for the vinyl windows. You can see on the right, original windows, beefy lift rail. There are these store window frames that have installed to kind of, obscure what's behind there now. But these are standard original wood windows that have that original detail. The new window does not have that really, really small lift rail and not compliant with the standards. The applicant is not going to wrap the windows, which is positive. That was after some discussion. That was part of the original proposal was to wrap the windows. They will not be wrapped. He's agreed to that aspect of it. But that being said, staff does not believe the proposal meets the Shaw guidelines and recommend that the board approve line and item.
Clarification, is your recommendation on what was submitted or on what he's proposing now?
It's no, the original submission. I do not feel comfortable making a statement about what is submitted beyond a first blush looking at it. But my recommendation is based on what has been submitted formally in the timeframe to prepare this report.
Well, we divide, there's two issues. There's the windows. We defer that with, as we did on item D, and then we're really just giving him guidance on our decision on the doors today.
I guess I'm confused about why we would allow for free guidance for an applicant on something we don't do that usually.
I'm taking back guidance. I'm giving him a decision. It's an appeal.
Got it,
Are the doors good? Doors not good, because that's what he wanted to know today.
got it.
And he doesn't have the new doors for me. He has new windows for me. So we went rule on the window. We would defer the windows to next month on item E. We would rule on the doors. So that,
So do we want to divide the question? Or do we want to make a single motion?
live question.
We hear a motion on the windows.
I move that we defer consideration of the proposed final windows until next month, until staff can evaluate the other or the number. Second.
May I ask, is that referencing the rear windows as well, or just the ones that street face?
All windows.
Discussion, hearing none. Bob, roll. Call the roll.
Or
Yeah, we're ready for you to call the roll.
Sorry. David Richardson,
yes.
Kevin Hamaker,
Yes.
Richard Caller,
Yes.
Stanley Fowler.
Yes.
Ruth Kenoy,
Yes.
Anthony Robinson,
Yes.
Mike Clean.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay, the motion prevails. This item is deferred until our next meeting or until Bob has a chance to vote. Your second motion.
I move that we deny the rear doors because they don't comply with the Shaw Neighborhood Certified Local Historic District. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I think it's just to talk about like facing a road or street facing. It is. I mean, I'm walking down the street, I can see it. I think if you ask this question of the one door, building down, I would say the same thing. It's visible. Sorry, just want to put that in there.
Oh, good.
There it is. Yeah, the code is clear. It says restrictions set forth will apply only to fronts and other portions of the building visible from the street and on corner properties, those sides exposed to the street.
Corner property, right.
Okay. Well,
I say anything before this?
David Richardson,
Yes.
Kevin Hamaker.
Yes.
Stanley Fowler.
Yes.
Ruth Kenoy,
Yes.
Anthony Robinson,
Yes.
Mike Clean,
Yes.
Richard Kelly.
Yes,
Sir.
okay, so. Agenda item B is settled.
Till next month.
E is settled. Where did it go?
You took it. Now you got all the clear.
November and December meeting dates.
Now, Thanksgiving and not on Christmas.
Over here, for these days.
Right, good job. I planned it.
Okay, really quick, both of the, obviously, every month, every year this happens. Holidays fall fourth week. You want to meet on November 17th. And December 15th, which is the third Monday of each month. Where do you want to keep the same dates?
Okay, I'll defer to people with children.
So, I personally, it's, the 24th, for Thanksgiving.
I'm okay with that too. Can we do the Thanksgiving one first? Everyone, how does the
Wait.
Thanksgiving date look?
But we need to Zoom, right? Can I Zoom?
Well, I guess it's gonna come down to the policies and procedures discussion, if we need to be in person again or not.
David,
You caused this.
I forget, what's on the card again?
But we can discuss that, obviously, and Olivia, who is obviously under the weather, we can discuss those options.
I'm fine with that.
Okay,
November works.
So you're
sounds like we're gonna keep November 24th.
you're gonna ruin Thanksgiving, okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. December, what about,
What do you want to do for December?
Oh, I'm talking about November, I don't care about it.
and then December, though, that does fall within a few days of Christmas, so I don't know if you wanna, was that the 15th of December? Usually a pretty slow month, you can probably do that one by Zoom, hopefully. For David.
I'm okay with the 15th.
We might be doing the rules.
Well, I guarantee you we're doing the rules in February.
Anyone else?
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay.
15th. Okay, we need to vote on this, or did it just be,
15th, yeah.
right?
Yes.
we actually need to vote on that change then.
I move that we move the December meeting from December 22nd to December 15th.
Second,
Discussion, hearing none.
Kevin Hamaker,
Previous
Yes.
roll, okay?
David Rich, okay, yes.
Previous roll.
Woo!
Hearing no objection, previous roll.
And we're gonna postpone the discussion this evening, right?
I don't know, are we?
these are Richardson's comments. Olivia and I spoke briefly. We think rather than wasting your time with them, Olivia and I are gonna talk later this week, and we'll come back to the next meeting and you're just gonna love them.
So moved.
Great.
David, I would add to that, made me think. I'd like cameras on the boat. No driving.
No cameras and no driving, Mike, was a suggestion made by the chairman.
Well, I wasn't watching you guys. I was just letting you know that I was there and it wasn't a chat bot.
Oh, it's okay. Appreciate your safety first. Okay, so thank you, David, for that. It's very thorough comments, so thank you very much. So, it's been all sincerity. Thank you for doing that.
Gallo,
I do appreciate it.
Not sure about that. I just want to have to be on a plane as well.
Are we adjourned?
We
No.
haven't made a motion yet.
we'll go, but we're not adjourned. Oh, we are.
Sorry.
Oh, we are.
You're adjourned. I didn't hear adjournment.
I didn't hear a motion.
Yeah, there's no motion to adjourn.
Maybe when I seconded.
And
Previous roll.
we've lost all control, Olivia. They have.
All right.
And I got it. You're feeling better.
Yes, we were.
Happy Halloween.
The Halloween.
City council, that.
Okay, I'm gonna shut down, Olivia.
Thanks,
Thank
Bob.
you.
Yeah. I was gonna say I was on a plane. Send up. Oh, but I just wanna make sure that anything other than driving.
Oh, you asked me about driving, I'm talking about voting.